Hi guys, and welcome to Tasha Tuesday. As you guys know, I absolutely love Disney. So today I thought I would do my top 10 favorite rides at Disney. Now these are my must-dos. Every time I go to these parks, I have to ride these rides. So these are all of the American parks, as I've only been to the American ones, so Walt Disney World and Disneyland. They're kind of like scattered in between, and only the very #1 ride is actually my #1 ride. The others are kind of in whatever order. So let's get started. Number 10 on this list is Buzz Lightyear, specifically at Walt Disney World. So the Disneyland and the Disney World Buzz Lightyear rides are different. In Disneyland, you pick up the lasers and you shoot them around. In Walt Disney World, they are just mounted onto the actual cart and you can only swing it that way. I know a lot of people probably prefer the Disneyland one because you can move it around. I don't, because I don't have that steady of a hand to like be able to hold the laser, so I prefer it when it's on the actual cart. So when it's there, it's just stable and it's much easier for me to score Galactic Hero without me like moving my hand around. The second ride on this list is the People Mover, which is also known as the Tomorrowland Transit Authority People Mover. But I just call it the People Mover, and I think a lot of other people just call it that as well. For those of you who have never been to Walt Disney World or don't know what this ride is, it does what it says. It's a people mover. It moves people. So it kind of looks like you've got little like seat pods, and it's kind of like in a train, and there's like 7, I think, carts on the train. It takes you on a track all around Tomorrowland, and it gives you a tour of Tomorrowland. You go like up one side and you go through Space Mountain, through some stores, and it takes you up the other side, and it tells you some fun facts and like a little bit about Tomorrowland and what it represents and what it does and what they wanted Tomorrowland to be. And I love this ride. One, it gives your feet a nice 10-minute break from walking around Walt Disney World, which is very helpful. But 2, it's just like, it's a classic ride to me. It was in Disneyland, but it was taken down, and it's still in Disney World, and I think it's very nostalgic to me. 1, because I did ride it when I was very young, but 2, because it is just nostalgia for Disney in general, and I like that. Number 8 on this list is Pirates of the Caribbean, specifically in Disneyland. To me, the Disneyland Pirates of the Caribbean is way better than the Disney World one, especially since the refurb and update a couple years ago. For those of you who don't know, the ride came before the movie, and the movie was inspired by the ride. So after the movie's success, Johnny Depp animatronics were added to the ride to bring in more people, which, how cool is that? The reason that I like the Disneyland version of Pirates of the Caribbean is, 1, it is the original, and it is longer, it has more scenes, and I feel like I'm just more immersed in the ride than I am at Disney World. Now I do want to point out that the mechanics of the Walt Disney World ride are better, mostly because at the end, if anyone has been on the Disneyland one, you'll notice there's a bit of a blockage at the very end, because you sit and your boat goes up the ramp while you're still in it, which slows down the process. But in Walt Disney World, you get off before it goes up the little ramp. So other than that like blockage at the end, everything else about it is, in my opinion, way better. It's longer, you get closer to the scenes, there's more scenes. There's the rumor of the real life skull of the bed scene, which I'm convinced it is. I believe it is a real skull. Number 7 on this list is Toy Story Mania, and this is found in both Walt Disney World and Disneyland. Disney World, it is in Hollywood Studios in Toy Story Land, and in Anaheim, it is found in Disney California Adventure at Pixar Pier. Both of these are exactly the same ride, so both of them are exactly the same. I love this ride because I'm very competitive when it comes to fun carnival games like that. I always get best in cart. I'm always focused. I was like, yes, I must win. But one of my favorite things recently to do with this game is to partner up with the person in my cart with me, mostly my sister right now, and we try and unlock the secret menu items or secret games and areas within the games in Toy Story Mania to get extra points or unlock extra areas, and it is so fun. Oh my gosh. I won't give all of them away because it is very fun to like try and get them on your own. However, I will give one. When you're in the Hoops game with Buzz Lightyear and the aliens, if you knock all the aliens in the middle of the rocket ship off at the same time, which is why you have to work with your partner, all of them have to be going off at the same time, it opens up the rocket ship, and then you can just keep shooting and it scores like 1,000 and 2,000 points every time you shoot your hoop in there. Let me know if you unlock any of the secret areas in Toy Story Mania because I would love to know. Number 6 on this list is Spaceship Earth, which is found in Epcot in Walt Disney World. See that big old golf ball at the very front of the park? You can actually go inside on a ride called Spaceship Earth. I know a lot of people don't realize you can go and there's a ride there, but that's the ride, Spaceship Earth. Essentially, this ride takes you on a journey through time as humans learn different technologies and evolve and stuff like that. So it starts off with cavemen and how they did cave paintings, to Egyptians where they learned to make paper, and it goes on to the Renaissance where they learned to paint and stuff, and it takes you on a journey of literature and technology and how we have become what we are now, you know. It's a slow, dark ride, but it is absolutely wonderful. I love it. Number 5 on this list is Mount Everest, which is found in Disney's Animal Kingdom in Walt Disney World. I love this roller coaster so incredibly much. So this roller coaster was incredibly expensive to make. I believe it is one of the world's most expensive roller coasters, if not the most expensive roller coasters ever to be made, because of all the things that are added to it. The roller coaster was built as part of the Mount Everest mountain. So if they ever wanted to do any work on it, they would literally have to take off the entire top of the Mount Everest mountain and then work on it, because it's built layer by layer. So if you guys don't know already, I love history surrounding rides, and this one has a lot of really cool history and fun facts around it, specifically surrounding Betty the Yeti. She is so expensive and so large. She is built into the side of Mount Everest roller coaster, and she used to move. If you've been on the roller coaster, when it comes to the very end, you're down the hill, you go around, you go into a cave, Betty the Yeti is there, she's got her arm out at you, and currently it's strobe lights, you know, which is where the nickname Disco Yeti came from. Looks like she's having a nice old party. It did used to move. Betty the Yeti used to move and look like it's coming out to grab you. But a few short weeks or months after it opened, she's so heavy that the mechanism stopped working, and that was, I don't even know how long ago when the roller coaster first opened, but it hasn't worked since because it would be too expensive to renovate. They would, like I said, they'd have to take the whole top of the mountain off and work from there. That's insane. So that's history, and that's why I love the ride historically and like fun facts and stuff. But I also love this ride because it is genuinely one of my favorite roller coasters of all time. So number 4 on this list is It's a Small World, specifically in Disneyland. I know both have it, but I just prefer the Disneyland one. It has characters that are found in movies within the ride, and what makes it really stand out for me as one of my favorite rides is, one, it is a classic. Walt Disney loved it, worked on it, wanted this, so I love that history of it. Also, the Disneyland one just is such a attraction on its own without even going on a boat. It's just like white and gold, and it's got the clock face, and it's this whole beautiful like piece on its own at the entrance of Small World before you get on the boats, and it's just spectacular. It's like on par with the Disneyland castle to me, like just how it looks. It's amazing. I love it. I have to look at it every time I go. So number 3 on this list is Indiana Jones Journey into the Forbidden Temple, and this ride is only found at Disneyland. I love this ride. It is a family favorite of mine. Oh my lord, this ride is so good. So if you have been to Walt Disney World and like the ride Dinosaur, to me, Indiana Jones blows it out of the water. Like the theming, the effects, everything is just elevated with Indiana Jones. Fun fact though, Dinosaur and Indiana Jones, both rides are exactly the same. The jeeps and the mechanics and the actual layout of the ride, exactly the same. And you wouldn't know that when being on both. It's just how they've themed it, and everything is so different that you can't tell. So both ones are based off of movies. However, I prefer the Disneyland Indiana Jones one. I think it just has better theming. I've seen the movie more than I've seen Dinosaur, and to me it's a much more family friendly ride, because dinosaurs be scary, okay? I hated the dinosaur ride in Walt Disney World for the longest time because dinosaurs are scary, okay? I know they're extinct, but it's still a scary ride because of the dinosaurs. It's why I don't like Jurassic Park either, because of the dinosaurs. They're scary, okay? Number 2 on this list is the Carousel of Progress, which is only found at Walt Disney World in Magic Kingdom. I love this ride once again for the history surrounding it. Walt Disney himself created it for the 1964 World's Fair, and now it's in Walt Disney World. And another fun fact is, obviously, for those of you who don't know, Walt Disney was not alive when construction started for Walt Disney World. He never even saw his dream for Florida come true, but the Carousel of Progress is the only ride in the entirety of Walt Disney World where Walt Disney himself has actually stepped foot on it. Because the ride is the original one from the 1964 World's Fair. Obviously, it's had some revamps and updates, but once it's still the original ride itself that Walt Disney stepped on and imagined and was there. So I love this ride obviously because of the history, but also it's a 20-minute ride where you get to be in air conditioning out of the Florida heat for 20 minutes, and it's just really great. So it goes through the technology of humans and how it's like helped us. So it goes through, you know, a train that took 7 days to get from one side of the country to the other, which now only takes 3. It goes from having to bring water buckets in and pumping water ourselves to actual taps. Really, really fun to see like how we've changed and progressed over time. So number 1 on this list, if you couldn't guess already, is the Haunted Mansion. And I don't know how you couldn't guess. I mentioned that it's my favorite ride every other week. Just my favorite ride. Both parks is my favorite. I love the Haunted Mansion. I don't think I could pick between them. They're very, very similar. I believe Walt Disney World is slightly longer. It has a few more rooms in it. But Disneyland has the Hatbox Ghost. So I love this ride because 1, the aesthetic is just so incredible and I love it. But 2, once again, it's the history surrounding this ride. For instance, the ride was never an original ride. It opened 14 years after the original park opening date. And I mentioned the Hatbox Ghost before. He was originally there, but only in place for about 3 weeks because the technology to have him up here with his, and then a little hat box, and then his head disappear into the hat box just wasn't ready. It wasn't there. And so the illusion wasn't there, so they got rid of him. But he'd been in the park merchandise since the opening of Haunted Mansion up until, you know, now. And he only got put into Disneyland's Haunted Mansion, I believe in 2015, when the effect in full is amazing. But he's been there so long, and he's such a loved character, and he wasn't even in the ride for that long. Like, how cool is that? And there's just like other little tidbits that I could do a whole video on, like fun facts and things that I know about the Haunted Mansion because it's my favorite ride and I love it. But so that is my top 10 favorite rides in Disney. I would love to know what your favorite ride is and why. A lot of mine have to do with either nostalgia reasons or because I just love the history surrounding the rides. So I would love to know the reasons why a ride of yours is your favorite. Like this video and don't forget to click that red subscribe button and the bell button so you get notified when I post a video. Hope you all have a great day and I'll see you all next week. Bye!